welcome again. I'm Adam from Carpe Omnis Games, designer of No Honor Among Thieves, here telling you how to play. This particular video is about what you do on your turn. What actions do you take? Now, on your turn in No Honor Among Thieves, you take 3 actions, chosen from the list on these handy reference cards that come with the game. The list is also in the rulebook with greater explanations, but this should be all you need to most of the time. This has most of everything you need to know on it. So, on your turn, you can recruit a character. That's an action. You pay the recruitment cost of the character to the bank. So, the Alchemist, for example, costs 1. The Advocate costs 4. Everyone ranges from like 1 to 5, or about there. So, the recruitment cost is in the upper right corner. You pay that to the bank, and add that character to your crew. When you add a character to your crew, you also take a character card from the top of the deck and put it in the recruitment pool, so the recruitment pool stays at 5. Now you can't have more than 4 characters in your crew at any given time unless a card specifically says otherwise. There's a treasure card that lets you do that. But most of the time, 4 characters is the crew limit. If you have 4 characters in your crew and you want to hire another one, you can, at any point during your turn, fire a character, and it doesn't count as an action. So for example, if this player here had 4 characters in their crew and they wanted to hire the Magus, because he is a very powerful character, then they could fire the Fall Guy, which means take him from their crew, put him on the bottom of the deck, and then pay 4 to hire the Magus. Adding a character, again, from the top of the character deck back into the recruitment pool. That's the first action, that is recruitment. Second action you can do is the logistics action. Logistics gets into scheme card types. Now, you have a hand of scheme cards which you can use to enact dastardly plans. Each scheme card has a different type. There are reaction cards, complication cards, active cards, moment of truth cards, and logistics. The scheme card type is listed here in the middle of the card. This one, for example, is a logistics card. In a logistics action, you can play any number of cards of the logistics type. I'll go more into different types of scheme cards later on, but for now, that's really what you need to know for actions on your turn. Logistics cards tend to be powerful things. For example, this one right here, learn from your mistakes. Take a card from the discard pile, add it into your hand. There's a lot of old cards that you probably want to use again and other people don't want you to. There's also a number of cards that you attach to your characters. For example, Housecracker Kit is a logistics card. You can take that, spend a logistics action, and again, you can do any number of logistics cards in one logistics action. Take this card, attach it to one of your characters, and that character now has an additional stealth icon. Now, you can also do a legwork action, speaking of scheme cards, which lets you draw scheme cards up to your hand limit. Your hand limit is normally 7, unless something tells you that you have more than that. For example, the Smuggler character card gives you an extra card in your hand because he's smuggling it around for you. So you could take 1 action to draw up to your hand limit. Remember, everyone starts the game with 5 cards, which isn't the hand limit of 7. So your first action could be to get 2 extra cards before you do anything too excessive. However, that does take an action on your first turn. There's also headhunting. Speaking of the recruitment action, you can spend an action to take every character card in the recruitment pool, put them on the bottom of the character deck, and then fill out a new recruitment pool of 5 characters. Do this if you see something in the recruitment pool that you don't want someone else to have, or if there's nothing in the recruitment pool that you want to have. There is also exchange. You can trade cards with other players as an action. You can trade treasure cards, character cards, and scheme cards, so long as the result of doing that doesn't result in anyone going over their limits. You can't trade a character to someone so that they would then have 5 characters. Remember, you can only fire characters on your turn, so there's a bit of a limiter there. Now, there's also the rest action. During the course of the game, characters may become exhausted from various things. When a character becomes exhausted, you turn them sideways, like that. A character cannot be sent on a heist while they're exhausted, and if they're exhausted again, they are either arrested or killed, depending on whether honor's been broken or not. The jail and graveyard mat will tell you which is which at any specific time. When you take a rest action, you unexhaust all of your exhausted characters. You may also choose to draw 2 scheme cards if you want. Now the last action that you can take is the biggest one. That is the heist action. It costs an action to take a heist, and it's also the only action that you can do only once per turn. There's no limit on how many times you can recruit per turn, take logistics actions, rest, do legwork, headhunting, or exchange, except for the fact that you're limited to 3 actions per turn. You can, however, only do 1 heist. A heist chooses an objective, or the jail, and attempts to get past all of the defense cards on that objective in order to get the money. Now we're going to be covering that in video 4, because first we need to talk about character abilities and scheme cards.